Meet John. John is 42 years old. He earns $94,000 a year. He owns a modest house. By every visible measure, he is doing fine. But last weekend, John signed a piece of paper that committed him to pay $940 a month for the next 10 years. He did not buy a car and he did not buy a house. He bought something most financial advisors quietly call the worst purchase in America. And the strangest part is this: John knew, somewhere in the back of his head, that he might regret it. He did it anyway because the salesman was charming, because the brochure was glossy and the room smelled like fresh coffee and possibility. By the time John drove home, the contract was signed and the down payment was wired. His next 10 years were already half spent. Today we are going to look at 7 purchases that almost always end the same way. They look different on the outside, but the math underneath is identical. By the end of this video, you will recognize the trap before it closes. Here is something most Americans rarely say out loud at all. 78% of us have made a purchase we immediately regretted. 67% of us feel that regret often, sometimes, or always after a major financial decision. Most Americans believe their net worth would be $40,000 higher today if they had avoided just one big mistake. 1 in 10 say it would be $100,000 higher than it is. That is not a small mistake. That is a second retirement account. And here is the part that gets weirder than people realize. The most regretted purchases are not random at all. They cluster tightly. The same 7 categories appear in survey after survey, decade after decade. Different products and different prices, but the same trap. The trap has a name. Behavioral economists call it the projection bias. Marketers call it aspirational selling. Your bank account simply calls it the slow leak. We are going to walk through all 7 today in order with real dollar amounts attached. You will see exactly how much each one quietly costs. You will see how long the regret lasts in real years. And you will hear the one question that would have stopped each purchase before the pen ever touched the paper. No shame, no hustle culture, no telling you that you should have known better. Just the hidden math behind why these 7 purchases turn into 10-year mistakes. Here's what the data actually shows about all of this. Let me introduce you to 4 people. Watch what happens to them over the next 10 years. John is 42 years old, married, with 2 kids. He earns $94,000 a year and has $38,000 saved in his 401k. He drives a 6-year-old Toyota Camry that runs perfectly fine. He has been thinking lately that he deserves a little more. Carla is 32 years old, single, with no kids. She earns $78,000 a year and has $46,000 saved. She drives an old Honda Civic and lives in a small apartment. She has been thinking lately about taking a really nice vacation. Diana is 34 years old, married, with 1 young child. She earns $66,000 a year and has $22,000 in savings. She also carries $12,000 in credit card debt that she is paying down. She has been thinking lately about a major upgrade to her family's lifestyle. Maya is 28 years old, single, with no debt at all. She earns $52,000 a year and has $11,000 saved. She drives a paid-off used car and lives with 2 roommates. She has been thinking lately about how she might be falling behind. 4 people, different ages, different incomes, different lives, same psychological pressure, same advertising, same Saturday afternoon at the mall, or the dealership, or the resort tour, or the open house. Each of them is about to make one of the 7 purchases on our list. Each of them will tell themselves in the moment that this one is somehow different, that theirs is the smart version of the deal, that the math for them will somehow actually work out. We will check in on each of them throughout this video. By the end, you will see exactly how much these decisions cost. Not just in dollars, but in years of working life. Let's keep this fair right from the start. None of these 4 people are stupid or reckless. None of them are bad with money or careless with their spending. They are not the cautionary tale that you imagine. They are the median American consumer. They are your coworker, your cousin, your neighbor. They are, statistically speaking, probably you. 67% of Americans feel regret about a major financial decision. 78% regret a recent purchase they made. The math here is not a trick or a gotcha. The trap is structural and deliberate. It is built into the way these 7 products are sold, financed, and marketed to you. If you understand the structure, you can see it coming a mile away. If you don't, you keep walking into it again and again. Year after year, promotion after promotion, decade after decade, the product changes, the brochure changes, the salesperson changes. The trap itself does not change at all. Here's the first rule you need to know. Every single one of these 7 purchases is sold using one specific psychological lever. The lever is a future version of yourself, a you that vacations more, a you that hosts elegant dinner parties, a you that fishes every Saturday morning, a you that has guests over every weekend, a you that genuinely needs the extra living space, a you that drives the nicer, newer car. The salesman is not actually selling you the product itself. The salesman is selling you a vision of the future you. And the future you, frankly, is not real. The future you is a marketing fantasy designed to close the sale. The current you is the one who has to make all the payments. The current you is the one who lives with the maintenance bills. The current you is the one who, 3 years later, looks at the thing in the driveway and feels a quiet, low-grade hum of regret. Keep that lever in mind as we go through all 7. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it ever again. Once you cannot unsee it, you stop buying these things. Purchase number 1 is the brand new financed vehicle. Here is what nobody really tells you about a new car. The moment you sign the paperwork and drive off the lot, you have lost between 12 and 25% of the value of that car. By the end of the first year, you have lost 20 to 30% of the original price. By the end of the 5th year, 55% of the value is simply gone. A $40,000 new car becomes an $18,000 used car in just 5 years. That is $22,000 of pure, unrecoverable loss. John is staring at a Toyota Highlander on the lot right now. The sticker price is $46,000. The monthly payment is $640 over 72 months of financing. He tells himself it's safer. He tells himself it's more reliable. He tells himself it is finally worth it after all these years. Here is the truth about that decision. 44% of people who financed a car in the last 2 years regret the purchase. Only 39% are still happy with their choice. The math is brutal once you actually run it. Over 6 years, John will pay $46,000 in the price, plus around $6,000 in interest charges, plus another $4,000 in higher full coverage insurance, plus another $1,500 in higher registration fees and taxes. He will pay roughly $57,500 total for a vehicle that, by the end of the financing term, is worth maybe $16,000 on the market. He has lost $41,500 just to own a slightly newer car than the one he already had. The question that would have stopped him is simple. Is the new car feeling worth $600 a month, every month, for 6 years? Almost always, the honest answer is no. The Camry in his driveway runs fine. Purchase number 2 is the timeshare. This is genuinely the worst purchase in America. The data on this is not subtle in any way at all. 85% of timeshare owners regret their purchase decision. 41% never thought they would regret it and ended up doing so anyway. The average timeshare costs $23,160 up front. The average annual maintenance fee starts at $822, and it rises 5 to 10% every single year without fail. Some resorts raise their fees 13% in 2025 alone. Over 20 years of ownership, the average timeshare cost the buyer $67,644. Sometimes more, sometimes far more than that. And here is the part the brochure conveniently forgets to mention. The resale value of a used timeshare is, on average, almost zero. Listings on resale sites routinely show owners trying to give them away for $1. They often cannot even do that. The contracts are deliberately designed to be very difficult to exit. Many timeshares cannot be canceled at all, ever. They can only be sold, surrendered with a fee, or passed to your heirs. Carla took a free hotel weekend in Florida last spring. By Sunday afternoon, she had signed a contract for $19,000 for a 1-week annual stay at a Caribbean resort, a resort she had been on the property of for exactly 48 hours. The salesman called it a vacation investment. There is no such thing as a vacation investment ever. A vacation is, by definition, a consumption expense. The question that would have stopped her is simple. If this were really a great deal, why am I being pressured to sign before I leave the room? Real investments do not have a same-day deadline. Purchase number 3 is the recreational boat. There is an old joke about boat ownership that everyone knows. The 2 happiest days of a boat owner's life are the day they buy it and the day they finally sell it for good. The joke is famous because it is statistically very true. The rule of thumb for boat ownership is well established. Budget 10% of the boat's purchase price every year just for maintenance. Some experts say 20% for total annual costs all in. Once you include fuel, slip fees, insurance, winter storage, and engine repairs, a $50,000 boat costs $5,000 to $10,000 a year just to keep. That's before you ever launch it into the water. The average recreational boat in America gets used 26 days a year. That works out to roughly $190 per day in maintenance alone. Renting the same exact boat for the same day costs about $150. You could rent for 26 days every year for 20 years and still have spent significantly less than buying it outright. John drove past a Bayliner dealer on the way home from work. He started imagining Sunday mornings on the lake with his kids. He did not imagine the slip fee. He did not imagine the trailer registration. He did not imagine the cracked impeller in July. He did not imagine the November call to the marina, asking how much winter storage actually costs this season. He imagined the photograph in his head. The photograph is what they sold him, not the boat. The question that would have stopped him is straightforward. Will I actually use this 50 days a year, every year for 10 years? If the answer is no, the boat is a fantasy with a slip fee attached. Purchase number 4 is the recreational vehicle. The RV is basically the boat with wheels. The depreciation curve is even steeper than a boat, and RV loses about 25% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. After 3 years of ownership, a Class A motorhome has lost 30%. After 5 years, a Class C motorhome has lost 38% of value. After 5 years, a fifth wheel has lost 45% of original value. After 10 years, most RVs are worth less than half of what their owners paid. Annual maintenance runs between $1,500 and $4,000. Class A motorhome ownership runs $20,000 to $30,000 a year, all in, every single year before you have traveled a single mile. Diana and her husband are considering a $110,000 motorhome. They have told themselves they will use it every weekend. They have told themselves they will see 30 national parks. They have told themselves they will save on hotels and restaurants. Here is what actually happens in reality. The first year, they take 3 big trips together. The second year, they take just 2 trips. By the third year, the motorhome sits in a storage lot at $190 a month every month. By the 5th year, they are trying to sell it for half what they paid. The math only works if you camp more than 30 nights a year. Every year for at least 10 years straight without missing one. Most owners camp under 15 nights a year. The fantasy is the wide open road and freedom. The reality is a depreciating asset sitting in a storage lot. The question that would have stopped them is simple. Would we rent this exact RV for 30 nights a year if we did not own it? For most families, the honest answer is no. Purchase number 5 is the oversized luxury house. This one looks responsible on the surface. It is, in fact, not responsible at all. About a quarter of luxury home buyers in the last 2 years report dissatisfaction. They are not satisfied with the home they recently bought. More than 3/4 of recent homeowners say they regret some part of the decision. Half of buyers say homeownership is more expensive than they ever expected. They say there's too much maintenance and upkeep involved. The trap with oversized houses is that the purchase price is only the first cost. A 4,000 square foot house costs more in property taxes than a smaller one. More in monthly utility bills, more in insurance premiums, more in furniture costs. More in routine maintenance and more in weekly cleaning. Many of the rooms in big houses never actually get used. The dining room sits empty most days of the year. The third guest bedroom collects boxes and old laundry baskets. The bonus room slowly becomes glorified storage space. Meanwhile, the monthly mortgage payment is roughly twice what it would have been for a home that actually matches how the family really lives day to day. John and his wife are looking at a 5-bedroom house in a new development. They have 2 kids and they do not host big family dinners. They do not have frequent overnight guests. They are not planning to have any more children. They are buying the house because the kitchen island is beautiful, because the neighborhood is impressive, and because they can technically qualify. The mortgage will be $3,200 a month. The house they already own would have worked just fine for them. The question that would have stopped them is direct. How? Many of these rooms will be used more than once a week by anyone in our family. When the answer is mostly rooms for guests we do not have, the house is wrong. Purchase number 6 is the extended warranty. This one is almost a pure profit machine for the seller. Consumer Reports has surveyed thousands of buyers repeatedly over many years now. Roughly 60% of people who buy an extended warranty never use it. Of the people who do use the warranty, the median saving is $837. the average cost of an extended auto warranty is over $1,200. That is a net loss of $375 on average. Even when the warranty actually pays out a claim, 65% of Consumer Reports readers said they spent significantly more on the warranty than they ever got back in repair cost savings over the years. Maya bought a $400 laptop at the electronics store. At the checkout, the screen asked if she wanted the 3-year protection plan. The plan cost $99 extra on her receipt. She said yes without really thinking about it. She does not actually need the warranty at all. The laptop is genuinely unlikely to fail within 3 years of normal use. If it does fail, the manufacturer often covers the first year of defects anyway. And her credit card purchase protection often extends the warranty for another year. The $99 she paid goes straight to the retailer's profit margin. The question that would have stopped her is sharp. If this product is so likely to fail that I need a warranty, why am I buying it? And conversely, if it is unlikely to fail, why am I paying to insure against something unlikely? Extended warranties are almost always a bet against the seller's own product. The seller has run the math very carefully on their side. The seller almost always wins this bet, every single time. Self-insuring, meaning just saving the warranty money in a savings account, beats buying it. In roughly 7 out of every 10 real-world cases. Purchase number 7 is the designer luxury item. Here is what almost no one tells you about a designer handbag. The same applies to a Rolex watch or a designer suit. The moment you walk out of the store, the resale value drops by approximately 30%. Some pieces hold their value beautifully over the years. Hermes Birkin bag can retain 100% or even more of retail price. A Goyard St. Louis tote retains around 104% of value. But these are the rare exceptions, and they are rare for very specific reasons. The average designer bag retains only about 35 to 50% of its value after just a few years of relatively light, careful use. A Chanel Tricolor Classic flap retains only about 38% at resale. A Prada double zip tote retains roughly 35% at most. Most designer items are not investments at all. They are very expensive consumption purchases. Carla bought a $3,400 designer bag last fall. She told her friend it was a smart investment in herself. The same bag listed on the resale market today is $1,500. She has lost almost $2,000 in just 8 months. The bag is beautiful and it is well made, no question. But it is absolutely not an asset on a balance sheet. It is a depreciating accessory that her future self will never use, as often as her current self imagines she will. The question that would have stopped her is brutal. If this exact item were ugly but functioned identically, would I still pay this price? When the honest answer is no, you are not buying the product. You are buying the logo, and the logo costs roughly 85% of the purchase price. Here is the part of this video almost no one else will tell you. The 7 purchases on this list look completely different on the outside. A car is not a boat. A timeshare is not a designer handbag. A house is not an extended warranty. They are sold in different stores by different people with different brochures. But underneath, the trap is absolutely identical every single time. It is the same trap, dressed up in 7 different costumes. And the trap has a name in academic literature. Behavioral economists call it the projection bias. It is the tendency for human beings to assume something specific, that our future preferences will look exactly like our current preferences, only better. A boat owner imagines the future self who fishes every single Saturday. A timeshare owner imagines the future self who vacations every summer without fail. An RV owner imagines the future self who explores every weekend together. The oversized house owner imagines the future self who hosts Thanksgiving dinner for 20. Every year, in the formal dining room with the chandelier, the designer bag owner imagines the future self attending gallery openings. And dressing up for elegant dinners on the weekends, the new car owner imagines the future self who finally has the life that matches the car parked in the driveway. And in every single case, that future self does not show up. Real life shows up instead. Real life with its tired Wednesdays and its rainy weekends. Its sudden cold fronts and its in-laws who cancel at the last minute. It's kids who would rather be at a friend's house than yours. It's dinner reservations that get pushed back to next month or never. Real life is smaller, quieter, and more predictable than the brochure ever showed. The future self the salesman sold you was an aspirational character on paper. The current self who has to make the payments is a real specific character. The trap is the gap between those two selves. The Most regretted purchases in America are not the most expensive ones overall. They are the ones bought for a version of you that does not exist yet, by a version of you that desperately wanted to believe in him. Run the numbers on any major purchase before you sign, and ask yourself one direct, honest question every time. Am I buying this for the person I actually am right now, or for the person I tell myself I am about to become? If the honest answer is the second one, do not sign the paper. The person you are about to become almost never shows up at all. The person you are right now is the one writing the checks every month. So here's the practical takeaway from all of this. Before any major purchase over $1,000, ask yourself 3 questions. First, would I still buy this if no one I know would ever find out? That single question kills the status purchase dead. Second, how many times will I realistically use this in a year, multiplied by 10? That question kills the fantasy purchase before it starts. Third, can I walk out of this room and come back tomorrow with the same offer? If the answer is no, the offer was never real in the first place. 3 questions, 30 seconds of your time. They will save you tens of thousands of dollars over the next decade. The 7 purchases on this list have one more thing in common. They are far easier not to buy than they are to ever sell. Once the contract is signed, the trap closes behind you quietly. The timeshare you cannot exit, the RV you cannot resell easily, the house you cannot easily unwind without losing money, the warranty that does not refund, the bag whose resale is half, the boat sitting at the marina in November in the freezing rain, the car that lost $20,000 before you finished the second payment. The most important financial decision you can make is simple to state. Knowing the difference between a strategy that's right for you and one that's right for someone else. Do the math. Make the decision that matches your reality, not someone else's sales pitch. Most regret is not earned in big, dramatic mistakes that everyone sees. It is earned in glossy brochures and quiet Saturday afternoons. See the trap, walk past it, keep your money,